What's up, guys, and welcome to the Hybrid Mongoose podcast. And it has been a long time since I have said that. And I'm sorry, and I apologize, guys, for how long it's been in between podcasts. A lot of stuff going on, and I finally feel like I'm on track again. So you can be expecting more podcasts coming soon. Next week should be JT Valor and Race Amazing, which we did a podcast together. It turned out awesome. I still need to edit that and get that out. So, sorry guys for the delay. Podcast is not going anywhere. I know a lot of people were talking about that and asking like, hey, where's the podcast at? Where's it been? And trust me, guys, it's something I'm never going to stop doing. I want to say that right now. So if there's 2 weeks, 3 weeks in between podcasts, just know that more podcasts are coming. I apologize for the wait. I'm probably going to stick to a schedule of every other week, not every week, because it's going to get harder to produce that. And I don't want huge gaps in between. I want to try to keep it more so consistent. So the next podcast will be Reese Amazing and JT Valor. It might not be next weekend. It might be the weekend after that. So anyway, before the podcast starts, I want to talk about my Patreon, guys. And my Patreon, it does a great job of supporting the podcast. In fact, next month I'm going to take the Patreon money and actually upgrade my SoundCloud account to get all the audio versions onto iTunes and Google Play. And I know I've been delayed on that, and it's because it costs money, right? It costs money to actually pay to get unlimited storage on SoundCloud to get all your audio podcasts on there. And it's kind of funny because it does cost probably about $150, maybe about $200 a year or so. So I've been saving the money and trying to wait to do that. So I apologize for the wait on that, guys. I know a lot of you consume the podcast in the audio form only, so I'm telling you right now, it's going to be fixed. It will be staggered. So if you want the newest podcast, you're still going to have to come to the channel, but it'll be about a week late, audio version only. Today's guest is Romina, a travel vlogger, and is the first guest on the podcast that is not involved in Pokemon Go or the Pokemon Go community. And it was really, really a nice podcast. I really can't wait, to get more guests like that. And it really shows me that this podcast is more than just a gaming podcast. It can be anything. And, I'm always looking for a good conversation. So if you're watching this and you are a vlogger or a different type of YouTuber and you want to have a conversation and be on the podcast, hey, hit me up on Twitter and maybe we can make something happen. So without further ado, let's get right into the podcast. And welcome my special guest, Romina, the amazing Romina, to the podcast, which if you don't know who she is a travel vlogger, YouTuber, magician. I don't know what.
Extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. She recently your channel's been growing pretty fast, actually. I was just looking. You did have that big milestone of 15K like recently, and
Yeah.
then I just checked your channel again. You have 16K.
Yeah.
So it's just like, whoa, yeah, So congratulations on that. It's growing quick now.
Thank you. Yeah. It actually just went, last year I really went at it really hard, and it went from like 0 to 100, it was just like that level of intensity. And yeah, I mean, right now I average at least 1,000 subscribers a month. So yeah, it's really exciting.
That's really good. That's really good. Comparatively, I'm like about 350, 400-ish per month, which I still feel like that's still great. As you know, YouTube's one of those things that's just like it builds upon itself. So everything takes time. It's like you don't see the output or sometimes the results till later. So that's cool. That's cool. That's finally starting to pick up momentum for you. And it's also a weird thing because, like, as you know, your first 100 subs can be kind of difficult. First 1,000 subs, kind of difficult. First 5,000, but as time goes on, it's easier and easier to gain those subscribers. Like back in the day, you'd be like, "Oh man, I gained like 10 subs today," and then like now you're like, "There should have been more. There should be more subs." Than
Yeah, there should have been 2 more zeros after that. But.
Right? Yeah. So, did you always do like traveling, like vlogging since the beginning, or did your channel do something else at first?
No. So I've been on YouTube since 2006, and when I started doing that, it was um, I mean, at the time, people weren't really creating content for YouTube. It was just
Hmm.
like a place to host videos. And so, I mean, I did some stuff that was like, I did some like stop motion stuff. I did some, silly videos, like comedy videos and stuff like
Right.
that. And just, um, and then eventually I posted some music stuff too. And then eventually I stopped doing YouTube altogether. And
Hmm.
um, in 2013, the Harlem Shake became a
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And so it was kind of two things. So I already had a channel where I was just posting like professional stuff, like acting reels and just like stuff that I was doing in like, the movie industry.
Hmm.
So it wasn't anything creative. Like it wasn't anything, fun to watch. Um,
Right.
and and so these two things happened where it was the Harlem Shake. Of course, I participated in it because it took like 20 seconds to do.
Right.
and
Right.
then and then the second thing was this huge limousine parked outside of my house one day,
Oh wow.
and I like I just made a video about it. Like I didn't mean to do anything with like I was like, this is so funny and weird, like I'm gonna make a video about it. So I
Right.
did. And so I put it, and like these things were like within maybe like a month of each other, these two events. And
Hmm.
so I both of those videos kind of went viral. Like they got a lot of views. First, like a channel that I wasn't creating content on. And so that brought me back into YouTube, and I started doing more videos on that channel. But it was a very lame titled channel because of the fact that it was like professional.
Right.
And
Right.
I was like, yeah, this isn't good for branding. And like, I was already kind of getting traction on that channel because I was creating stuff on a weekly basis.
Hmm.
And everyone was just like, you're clearly unhappy with that. So just make a whole brand new channel. Just do it brand new.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So a couple years ago, I I mean, technically this channel, my Red Romina channel, was my gaming channel, or was supposed to be my gaming channel. And I
Okay.
posted some gaming videos.
Gotcha.
Um but then I realized that I didn't want to do gaming videos because I just want to play the games. And
I feel that way
so I
too,
just
a
like
little
turned
bit.
it completely into like this total opposite thing, and now it's just my main channel.
So that's no, well, that's cool. That's cool. I know how that feels too. Like when you already had all those views on those other videos, so it's kind of hard to be like, well, now I'm
Yeah.
making a whole new channel. It's like starting over. Because like I've thought of that too, like making, and I've done it before in the past where I made a channel for a different thing, and you got to get used to the reality of when you post a video, you're gonna get like it's starting over. It's literally starting over to a degree,
Yeah.
and it's hard. Even if you bring and you could say it a million times, like, "Hey, I'm starting this new channel. Come over here and watch this." Not everybody's gonna come, so
Yeah.
it's one of those things that, oh man, I got 100 views. Uh oh, like
Yeah. The
I don't know.
majority of the people on that channel did not transfer over.
Hmm.
Or at least not at first. Like, you'd think, oh, hey guys, I'm doing this new thing, come follow me. And they'd all like show up like little baby ducks. But
Right,
that did
little
not
baby
happen.
ducks. No, that
It
didn't
was
happen.
maybe like at best like 30 people showed up. It was a very failed like kids birthday party.
Right. Yeah. No, it's weird. Those you never know what video can go viral, so it's crazy. Like I can't even explain. I mean, well, on my channel, it's hard for me to explain why one video got 7,000 views and the other one got 600, 700. I can't explain why. It's like that
Yeah.
YouTube algorithm just suddenly picks up something and just starts promoting it. It feels like. And it's just like, oh, thank you, YouTube gods, for picking that one to just all of a sudden promote. Like, I don't know how that happened, but I don't know. Lately, I mean, you're probably not seeing this, but lately, I've heard a lot of people complaining about the notification system, um, with YouTube in general, and having issues with, like, are people getting my notifications? These views seem like pretty low compared to what it was like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
et cetera. And I can kind of see that too. I've heard people say they don't get notifications when I'm live streaming or anything like that. And man, I really hope they fix that stuff, because that's so annoying as a content creator to have that keep happening. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, I do complain about it sometimes. I try not to, but like, to me, views and subscribers are two totally different things. And
mhm.
I try to not relate one with the other. Um, but it is frustrating to sometimes see, the subscriber base going up, but the views not
Yes, yep,
paralleling that.
right,
Um, and but I mean, aside from that, like, my focus is always to get views. Um,
yes,
and
yep.
after that is subscribers.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, because um, the subscribers do not reflect the audience 100%. It may be a
Yeah.
small portion, but if you ever look into your stats and everything, and there's a lot of people that are watching your content that aren't subscribed. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that if you're going to definitely do this as a full-time job, yeah, you want views. You
But I
don't.
think that the majority of people see that in their stats too, and I think it's
Mhm,
kind of
yeah,
funny
yeah.
because I truly believe that if my subscribers were seeing my videos in their subscription box, or like in the YouTube homepage every
Yes,
time they logged in, they would be watching my videos.
I feel the same way. Yep.
But because, I mean, they subscribed for a reason. And it's
Correct.
like,
Yep.
and it's not like just, 30 people subscribed. Like, at this point, it's 16,000 people
Right.
have agreed to watch my videos on a weekly basis, but only like a quarter of them are watching. So
Right.
there's kind of something there that's like,
I agree with you. Yeah, it does feel like sometimes the notification system is being tweaked or something, and you're like, that's. I mean, it's slowly gaining the views, is what I'm
yeah,
noticing, but it's not like I've seen other videos just like, 1,000 views right away, and then now this other video, it's gaining up there, but it's taking like 3-4 days to hit that mark. So it's just like weird, and I've heard, I almost quit Pokemon Go in general at one point, and I heard from a lot of people like, I didn't unsubscribe from you. They'd unsubscribe me, and like I didn't see your notifications that you were posting and things like that. And it's just like, what? It's super frustrating, because
yeah,
you, as a content creator, you don't want to be taken down by the algorithm. Like if you're putting in the work for videos and you're putting the work for your subscribers, and they want to see your content yet they're not receiving it. I mean, that's not fair, I feel. But
yeah. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, like, PewDiePie's got like what,
oh yeah,
50 billion subscribers, and it's
right.
like what, only a measly 2 million per video.
I know. What is up with that? We need to help
We need to help
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie. Hashtag help Pewd.
so you you started your vlogs. I know you travel like a ton. Like you travel a lot. Like I seen, you're in one country one week, then the next week you're in another country. And do you ever get burnt out from traveling? Like you
Um,
ever, or you just love it so much you're just like, yeah, I'm going. Let's go.
yeah, no. I mean, to be honest, no, I don't. Not, at least it's not that. 'Cause I'm not, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, this is so hard. I mean, it's challenging, but
Yeah.
I could be laying bricks somewhere in like 100-degree weather,
Oh yeah.
and that could be my job.
Oh, totally.
Um,
Yeah.
so this is like, I mean, just kind of having that perspective is just like, um, I think more than anything, it's um like the actual act of, traveling and doing that
Okay.
stuff doesn't is not, for me, it's fun, and it's a new experience, and um I take it as like vacation time. Like, for me, it's fun, and I
Oh
love
yeah.
creating, and
Yeah.
I love sharing the world with people. So that aspect of it doesn't burn me out. I mean, I think what does burn me out sometimes is just you know, creating constantly. Like, sometimes it's just that aspect of it, which
Hmm.
I love to do. I love just creating stuff, you know, if it's drawing, if it's writing, if it's
Right.
being on video, like whatever it is. But but yeah, like sometimes, you know, I do wake up and I'm just like, no, like I don't really want to do anything today, and like, you know, just watch Netflix all day. And it's just,
Right.
you know, I think it's natural too, because it's like I'm putting so much of myself and so much out there, so much energy out there.
Mhm.
Sometimes I need to take in some stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm such a homebody, like just naturally, that like
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. Like I have a dream of doing nothing. You know, like even like like idiocracies. Like, you know,
Mhm.
what's your dreams? Like to do nothing. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's it right there. You know,
I mean, I would
although
love to do that. I would love to do nothing, but then like do it like all over the world. Like that'd be great.
right. No, no. I honestly, I love to travel. I just, personally, I'd be like, yeah, I went to like Brazil. I'm good for like, you know, a month. You know, like I don't need to go anywhere for a month. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good that my content lends itself to traveling really easily, right? You can play
Hmm.
Pokemon Go literally anywhere. So it's an interesting concept. And actually, that's funny because it's like I never would be into vlogging, period, if it wasn't for Pokemon Go, because I was not a fan of really vlogs or anything like that. Now I love it. I love it, and I realize whether you're, you know, doing a gaming vlog type thing like I'm doing, or you know, traveling the world,
Yeah.
it's all about the story. The story is
Mhm.
what's important. That's it's hard once you start editing those types of videos. It's hard to like not want to do that. You know, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I got to see all these cool things, looking over the footage. I don't know. For me, editing, the creating process is like the funnest part. And I noticed that you actually have an interesting editing style. I've noticed how you edit, and I'm like, oh, that's unique, actually. You know, because I'm noticing you're speeding up certain shots, and like it seems almost kind of frantic in a way, but like together, it's hard to explain. But I like your editing style. I can see the little like tricks you're putting in there, and I'm like, oh, I'm like
Thank you.
that's cool, you know, like because you know someone who edits all the time, I would notice these things.
Hmm.
So a lot of times when I see other content creators, I always think of like, how would I do that? Like, how would I mimic that or whatever, just to, you know. And I've gained inspiration since I've done Pokemon Go vlogs. I've watched other successful vloggers as like, how are they doing it? You know, because I want my videos to be as good as possible.
Right.
So I watch like Casey Neistat and like all these other people and just try to get. And he's like a huge inspiration. That guy just knows how to tell a story. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, he's a master at that. Um, so it's just cool to get inspiration from all different places like that. So it's cool to see, you know, your editing style is actually being like unique in a way, right? I don't
Thank
see a
you.
lot of people doing that, so it's cool. Um, so in your, you know, where are you originally from? Because I know you travel like a ton. So like, are you like, now I'm curious, like, where are you originally from?
um, Originally, well, I was born and raised in Florida.
Okay.
Um, but I moved out to Los Angeles, California, and I lived there for a decade. And now I am in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That's
Mhm.
cool. Well, that's cool. So were you always into filmmaking like early on?
Yes. Ever since I was little, I actually originally I wanted to be a cinematographer.
Okay.
Um, and that was like my dream until I got to like maybe seventh or eighth grade. And I took my first drama class. It was required part of the school.
Hmm.
Um, and and then I was like, wow, this is like the coolest thing ever. I can be anybody I want to be.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and so I started pursuing acting, and then YouTube came along. And just being in the filmmaking community, like I started my own production company and I started producing movies. And
That's
so I kind
awesome.
of took on like all of these roles where I was like behind the camera, in front of the camera. And then like YouTube was able to bring back that like cinematography aspect that was
Hmm.
in my
Yeah.
life when I was little. So it's like YouTube is just like a combination of everything that I've ever done in my life. and I'm doing it every week. So
I love that you're saying that, because my next my next thing I want to say is lines up perfect with that, because it's like these vlogs are really short videos or short movies, because like
mhm.
we are our own producer, director, you know, cameraman, everything. We're like our own
Yeah.
everything, right? So to make an actual really good vlog that tells a good story, good cinematography, is done well, is actually pretty amazing. Like I
Mhm.
feel like it's amazing when I make a good vlog. I'm like, yes. There's occasionally a couple of those where you're just like, okay, this one nailed it. I did an awesome job, you know, and all that. And it's just, it's funny because even as we are filming, we're thinking of the editing. At least I do. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm filming this, but yet I'm thinking how I'm going to edit this, and you're piecing the story together while it's happening,
Right.
which can be good and bad, right? It can be good because you're thinking ahead, but can be bad because it could also like hurt your experience a little bit, right? You're still in work mode. You're not really experiencing the fun of that place. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, yeah. So some of the documentaries on YouTube are as good or better than most of the stuff I find on Netflix, which I find is really cool. Like Shane Dawson,
Mhm.
he has been making
Yeah.
like some of the best content on YouTube lately. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't originally a fan of him at all, but his whole Tanacon thing and all that, I mean, I was gripped by that. I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, this is crazy," you know? So the way that he films everything and puts it together, it's really good. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a show. It feels like he should
It
get a
does.
deal on Netflix or something to make content. Like uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just really feels like it's on the next level. Um,
Yeah.
and it's good
And I
that,
think
go ahead.
I think
Yep.
that's what YouTube wants, you know? I
Hmm.
think they want people like Shane Dawson who are creating content that isn't just like, I mean, it's not, you know, it's not traditional, like it's not traditionally formatted, but then it's
Hmm.
also not, you know, carelessly put together. It's something that's very strategic
Right.
and he's been doing that for a while now. And I noticed like even before his TanaCon stuff, I was like, wow, Shane Dawson like really leveled up. Like he's
Oh
making
yeah. Oh
completely
yeah.
different content now as to what he was making before. You know, he's not just a vlogger now. Like he's actually making stuff that's entertaining to watch, you know?
Right. And he did one of that. He did that most recent documentary that I've been watching on Jeffree Star. Um,
I haven't seen that
and
one.
the first episode has a million likes on it. 1 million like that's incredible. Like like
That's
like a million likes. I mean, only
wow.
people that's getting that is PewDiePie, really. I mean, and he'll just
Yeah.
literally ask for it. Can we get 1 million likes on this? Like, of course, people are gonna just do it.
And then
Um,
he'll delete the video.
right, right. I love PewDiePie though. Honestly, I didn't like his gaming stuff. I like his
Mhm.
like what he does now. I love like it's all memed
Yeah.
up. It's stupid. He's Gloria Borger or you know Poppy Harlow. He's just making up stuff. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's fun and stupid and entertaining at the same time. I love what he does now, and it's so different because I didn't like him when he was doing the Happy Wheels, and all this other
Mhm.
gaming stuff where he'd scream and get scared and stuff. I didn't like it. I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and now I it's cool to see him grow up in a
Mhm.
sense, right? He's making more, like he barely does any games anymore. You notice that?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you
Yeah.
follow him, but yeah, he doesn't do any
Yeah, I do.
games.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any games. So I got to hand it to him. You know, he is changing and making some good content, I feel.
Yeah,
Um,
he made the transition. It's I like his stuff now as well.
it's funny because like yeah, I did not have any I didn't like him back then. Like when he first started and how he just exploded, you know, doing all the horror movies and or horror games and all that. I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoy his content. I've been like really actively watching him for like about 2 years now, and his content is just so different. I have a skit with this giant Pikachu over here. Where's he at? Over here, huge, gigantic Pikachu. I can't even pull him up. He's so big, but
I saw his ears.
but you know, for a long that was inspired by PewDiePie because PewDiePie used to put out these cardboard cutouts and talk
Mhm.
to them,
Yeah.
and I was just like, yeah. So secret revealed that I really did get that inspiration from. And the giant Pikachu is like, it's so silly, but people want another video. They're like, bring back giant Pikachu, like one more.
You gotta give the people what they want.
And it's funny because the giant Pikachu, I like lower its voice and it just sounds like Pika Pika, and then I put like subtitles in, right? So it's so off the wall crazy. The last time I did a video, I'm like, either people are gonna think this is like so funny or like think I'm literally crazy. Like they're gonna be like, put them away, like whatever. But I think that's the point of YouTube, though, right? Like let's have fun with it. Like even though it's silly and stupid and whatever, I don't know. That's the one most important thing for me is as long as I'm having fun with it, you know.
Right.
Because if YouTube feels like a job, that's when
Yeah.
that's when it doesn't. And I'm sure it does for you at points. You know,
Yeah.
at times it does feel like, wow, this is like a job, you know?
Yeah.
And when I first started doing the podcast, it felt like a job because I'm like my own secretary. I'm like, okay, got to find guests every week, got to contact them, got to work with their schedule, got to do this, you know, and like line it up and,
Be the sound engineer.
right. But you know, it's all worth it though, because it's like, this podcast is definitely turned into something awesome. I feel
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoy it. And I don't want it just to be Pokemon Go. Obviously,
Yeah.
what I'm after is good conversations. So you know, anybody that's a fellow vlogger that knows Romina and wants to be on the podcast, follow me on Twitter at Hybrid Mongoose. I'll put you on the. We can talk. We can talk. Well, I got to ask this question. It's a very serious question. I ask everybody this question. Pineapple on pizza. Yeah, yes or no?
That question. You know, I'm one of those people. I'm easygoing,
Right.
but I don't want to be hated. I don't care either way. You know,
Oh, gotcha.
for me, it's like, I mean, if it's there, I might eat it. But like,
would you
I never
order
it?
Okay.
No, but I'm also like, I'm kind of like I just have like pepperoni, like cheese. Like
Right.
for me, like if I'm gonna have like a crazy pizza, it's gotta have like mushrooms and like bell peppers and spinach and stuff. Like I
That
like the
sounds
veggie
good.
ones, you know?
Yeah.
But like that's like crazy to me. It's like
I always ask that question because I just think it's funny. It long time ago, Elijah Watts was posting that he's something about pineapple on pizza, and I was like, that's disgusting. And then people back and forth were going like, that's gross. No, it's good. Blah blah blah. And I was like, this is a good question to ask people.
It is
right?
a good question because it creates conflict. That's the core of every good story.
And I will take like a hard stand and be like, no, no pineapple on pizza. I am guilty of eating it before because obviously you have to try it, but I will be picking those things off of there. If someone gets Hawaiian
Sometimes
pizza,
it just appears at the parties, and
it
what are you
usually
gonna
does
do?
because that one dude, you know.
Yeah.
That
Well, it's like
one guy.
there's a episode of Futurama. Do you know which one I'm talking about? There's an
Yes,
episode of
yes,
Futurama where they're
yes.
like stuck in a cave, and then I forgot what happened, but like there's this like pizza, like someone brings pizza or like they find pizza or something, and they're all like starving, right? Because they've been there for like 5 days or whatever. And then they open it up and it has pineapple pizza. And they're like, oh, well, I guess we're dead.
I love Futurama, by the way. That is one of my
Yeah.
favorite shows. Like
I mean, it's the best.
I've watched it over like a million times. I've watched it so much. Like
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm not remembering that episode. Like for some
Oh,
reason it's drawing
great. I
I'm
mean,
drawing
just
a
look up
blank.
Futurama pineapple pizza. I'm sure it'll come up.
So I know you've traveled like all around the world, all over the place. What was your favorite place that you visited so far? What was your favorite trip? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, my favorite places have been like China and Cuba. I loved both of those places. So far this year, I went to Guatemala, and that was an amazing trip.
Yeah, I caught most of that vlog where
Yeah.
you're in the pool and it was
Mhm.
like hot underneath the rock or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So was it cold everywhere else except for underneath the rock?
It wasn't like super cold because it's just so hot and humid there that the
Hmm.
water is just naturally like it's not cold. It's maybe like 70
Okay.
degrees.
Gotcha.
Um, but the actual hot water that was coming down from there was like exponentially hotter than like the
Wow.
rest
Oh,
of it.
it's
Yeah.
probably because the rock. The rock's heating up from the sun.
It was a
Yeah.
hot spring, yeah. And like if you go around, you can actually like see little pockets of like bubbles coming up and stuff. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the reason I ask you is because I want to ask the opposite of that.
Mhm.
Because like traveling can be hard sometimes with people having like layovers and like, oh, my flight was delayed 4 times, like things like that. What's your worst travel story? Like, what was the worst? You're like, this sucks. I hate this. I'm stuck here. You know.
Um, I can't really say. And I think it's just again, like I'm just so easygoing. Like for me it's just it's all part of it. And I can't
Right.
really say that like I've had any experiences like that
Hmm.
that really stick out, you know? I mean, I've had stuff that has been bad that has happened, but nothing that's like,
Hmm.
this was like the worst thing ever.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, I have a good time pretty much anywhere I go, so.
Yeah, because I know Kyler. Shout out to him. He when on Friday of GoFest we had that meetup, and he
Yeah.
was originally supposed to get there on time. Like he would have been there early actually, but his flight got delayed like 3 times. So he ended up missing the entire thing and got in late. And talking about somebody who gets to the airport at like probably 8 a.m., 7 a.m., sitting there waiting for his trip, and then delayed all the way until like 5 p.m. or
Yeah.
so. It's just like, ugh, So when I heard that, I was like, but he was. I mean, when he finally got there, he was happy, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um, I personally probably be a little upset. I'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna miss this whole thing. But yeah, so you've traveled like a ton of places. If you had to like pick a place to live for like 1 year, like the next year, where would it be? I know you've been to so many places, probably hard to
Yeah.
pick.
I mean, it's funny because the places that I would want to are places that I haven't been to yet.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, this would. Well, it'd have to be a place you've been to before, of course. But no, that's. I mean,
Um, I guess I'm not well, if I've been to it.
right, right. I get what you're saying. Does it take away
um
some of the magic when you go to a place? You like have all these ideas of how it's going to be, and then you go there, and you're like, it's.
no, I mean that's happened to me before.
Uh huh.
Um that's happened to me before. But not really it doesn't really happen often. I think because every place like just has like their own special thing, so it's like even if it doesn't meet all of your expectations, like something good should come
Right.
from it, you know?
Right.
Um, but no, it's more just like there's so much that I haven't done yet, and I'm like excited to do those things.
Right.
And like I would say like Australia, and England are
Hmm.
probably on the list. Because I'm also speaking like realistically, like
Right.
where
Right.
I could live, and it
Right.
would probably be those places.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as where I've already been to, France is really great. Um,
Hmm.
and I've lived in Italy and I've lived in Spain. I don't I wouldn't want to do that again. Um,
Oh, really?
visiting
What?
is great.
Okay. What now that's another question. What was wrong about Spain or Italy?
Nothing was wrong about it.
Well,
It
no,
was just
I'm not gonna word it like that. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the wrong wording. It's like she's like, I just hate people from Spain. Like that's
Yeah,
that's
like
if you're
honestly,
Italian.
they just all suck.
No, I'm
No, just kidding.
you're right. Yeah, just
For
joking.
those of you who are watching, don't start commenting because
No, no,
it's a joke.
I mean, people have their own things. Like I'll give you an example. I lived with an ex-girlfriend. This is like a lifetime ago. I moved to Vermont because her grandma had a house out there for rent and was like, "You guys should just go live out there." And I'm like, "Okay." And we've only been there for the summer, and like it's a beautiful place, right? I mean, we're literally up in the mountains. Like we are the foot of a mountain. Like it's awesome looking.
Yeah.
But I lived there for a year and realized very quickly that their winter is like 5 times worse than anything I would experience in Michigan. And I just don't like living out in like the middle of nowhere like that. Like I
Yeah.
actually hate it. So like people learn things. I have nothing against Vermont like as a place. It's beautiful, great to visit.
Mm-hmm.
I would don't ever want to live there again. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to have to. I mean, it's just a bunch of little stuff. You're like, I need a pillow. Where do I get a pillow from? All the stores in this small town close at 5 p.m. So not there. Plus it's overpriced because it's a tourist town. So everything's
Yeah.
like way high.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, the nearest city is 45 minutes. So now I'm driving 45 minutes to get a pillow. Like, this is unreal. Like, and it's just little things like that over and
Yeah.
over again that add up, and you're just like, I hate living out in the middle of nowhere like this. I don't like it. So
Yeah.
that's my experience. Do I hate all people from Vermont? Yes. No, I don't.
Well, I mean, secretly, there's like a whole
No.
Facebook group about it.
But no, I don't dislike anybody. Vermont's a great place to visit in the summer, but oh my God, the winters.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how bad this winter was. Because, like, first of all, I'm from Michigan. It's flat. There's no hills here, right? It's all flat. So you go to a place like Vermont, which is like nothing but hills. I mean, everything's a hill.
Right.
Valentine's Day, the year I was there, I will never forget it. It snowed 4 feet in one day. 4 feet. So the driveways are all angled like this, like that. It was over my head from the plow trucks going through and in the driveway of the house that we rented. Like it was like over my head, and I'm all like, "Oh my God!" My friend had a truck with a actual plow on it, and he's like, "I'll get you out. We'll get it done." He hit it. He tried like 5 times. It wouldn't even budge. Like I was just like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
Yeah. So we think the winters are bad here. It's like no. It is. It can be so much worse, and then also experience the most cold I've ever felt as well, which was there was a whole 2 week period where it was like -10 during the day. So during the day, sun out and everything, and then at night it would dip between. It actually get to the point where it was like -30 at certain points, and I worked at night, so I'd have to turn on my car like seriously half an hour beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd get out of a warm bed and walk outside, and your whole body would just lock up. Just, oh my God, it's so cold. Like, and I'm talking like wearing like 3-4 layers of everything. Like you're just like, so. Sorry, long story about how I how I don't
About how you don't like the cold.
I don't like the cold. I don't like living in Vermont, but it's a nice place to visit. So,
Yeah.
So why do you hate Italians? I'm just kidding.
Well,
Let me tell you. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry to all of my Italians out there. No, it's not really that. It's like what you said. Like I'm a city person, and I just like being in the city. And I'm constantly like on, like all the time, and and there's just certain places where it's a little bit difficult to get things done. Just like the bureaucracy and just like the system and the way like banks work, just like, that everyday thing, like getting adjusted to that. Like it doesn't work the same all over the world, like people have different processes for different things. And
right.
And I guess like that kind of stuff is just, it's hard to get accustomed to. So that's really all it is though. Cause it's just like,
gotcha.
It's just kind of, knowing that I can get stuff done when I want to get it done.
Right. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. If I need something or I need to get something done, I know I can get it done relatively quickly around here. Like if
Mhm.
I mean we have stores that are open 24/7. If I need something that bad, I can just go get it.
Right.
10 minutes later I'm in the store grabbing it, right? So it's just like
Yeah.
not having that accessibility and living in somewhat a city area, going from that to these places close at 6 p.m. It just blew my mind. I was just like,
Yeah.
I absolutely hate this. And it's just like a slower pace of life.
Yeah.
But I don't want to live in the city, but I don't want to be like so far away from everything that it's inconvenient for me. So
Right.
yeah. So but that's cool. That's cool. So was Spain the same way? I know Spain has a lot of what is it, siesta and all that stuff where like
Yeah.
you take
Yeah,
naps and
pretty
things like
much.
that. And
Yeah.
that would throw me off because I normally can't take naps during the day. If I take a nap, you're gonna find me like 4 hours later. Where were you? Well, I took a nap and then I just never went back to work. I'm sorry. you know. So, I mean, did you participate in that? Like, obviously, when you were living there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problems with
Yeah,
that.
sometimes. I mean, at the time, this was like maybe 15 years ago. Like,
Oh,
so
okay.
it was just kind of, um, I didn't really mind. Like, I was there studying, so it was just part of like the everyday
Oh,
life.
gotcha, gotcha.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking naps sometimes.
I went. I was the worst. Even in kindergarten, I remember. It's like,
Mm.
oh, it's nap time, kids, and I would just never nap, never. Mm-mm. Which is bad because my son now, obviously, it's hard.
Yeah,
Probably gets
yeah.
that from me because he never wants to take naps. So it's awesome. Uh, so are there any other YouTubers? Because I noticed like when I started really getting into YouTube, I started watching a lot more YouTube in general, like just as a whole. Like I always was a fan of YouTubers and certain YouTubers, I would watch, but as time went on, I definitely started watching and consuming more of YouTube when I became a YouTuber and started, really pushing out content.
Yeah.
Um, is there any YouTubers that you like that inspire you now, like that you watch kind of regularly?
Sure. Yeah. I think me I don't really have a lot of time to like just be watching a lot of stuff. So I'm pretty selective for what I
Mm-hmm.
watch. But I do like watching my friends, people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I pretty much, I mean, that's basically what I watch.
Right.
I think the only person that I watch that I haven't even met yet is Casey. He's like the only person. But I mean, as far as like who inspires me, I mean, I love Sarah Dietschy. I love the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that she makes. Um, I like iJustine too. Like some of her videos. I like her unboxing stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
she does the good tech reviews too. Like,
yeah, they're
uh,
pretty good because they're kind of fun and they're usually not like long and boring or like too detailed. Uh,
right. Yeah, I work
that's
in
pretty cool. Yeah.
IT for a living, so I want it as like nerdy as
Mm.
possible. So I usually go to
Yeah.
like Linus Tech Tips is
Mhm.
usually one of the ones I usually go to because he'll go deep, into the stuff, and I could go down a rabbit hole with just that type of stuff forever. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean that's cool. A lot of the other YouTubers, like Trainer Tips, for instance, people like a lot of people call him the Anthony Bourdain of Pokemon Go, which is a lot of it's true though.
Mhm.
Like he did one video on Morocco, and it doesn't matter if you play Pokemon Go or not. You would enjoy this video because it shows
Yeah.
so much of Morocco and it shows so much of the people. The story is really the people, and he talks about their
Yeah.
struggles trying to play the game. He barely shows the game throughout a 45-minute like documentary basically. And
Yeah.
that video in my mind, I saw that and I know he's doing that before, but it's just like, wow, he just stepped it up like a huge level in my mind of what Pokemon Go content could be, because this is like a whole story. This is a whole, thing. It feels like, like an actual TV show. So,
Right.
that's I don't know, that's just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a little bit in DMs about like sci-fi stuff and like movies and all that other stuff. Is I know you mentioned like, Picard is back. Are you
Mhm.
is Star Trek like your favorite like sci-fi TV series?
Um, well, like, I mean, I told you I'm watching the entire franchise right now, and I started from the very first pilot
Oh, right, right.
episode of the
Yep, yep.
original series.
Yep.
So I'm going through the entire thing right now.
Mhm.
Um, and I do absolutely love it. Like, it's
Right.
just like it's everything that I want in life. um, and I'm also like I'm a huge 60s buff. Like I just love the 60s. I love the
Mhm.
aesthetic. I love the music. I love the culture. Like I just love all the stuff that's from the 60s. It's just something that I
Mhm.
vibe with.
Right.
And so to have that plus it's science fiction.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Oh, I get
it's
you.
like
Mhm.
it's like all this stuff, and I love the Twilight Zone.
Me too.
And
Me too. Yep.
Star Trek, like the original series, is so much like it in the sense like the tone where it like just always ends with a tone of like, what if,
Right.
and that's pretty cool. It's just it makes it fun. But yeah, I mean, I love, and I'm like so getting into it now because I'm
Mhm.
watching every single one right now. I'm on the animated series, which is from the 70s, with very interesting animation. um, but it's really fun.
So what do you think of the newer Star Trek movies? Because like you're a fan of all the old stuff. It's like the newer movies. Like me personally, Star Trek was not my favorite series. I was
Mhm.
like my dad and my brother, my older brother, loved that show. So when we were younger, whenever Star Trek was on, I was like forced to watch it. It's not that I don't like I dislike Star Trek. I'm just not a huge fan of it, even though I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah,
But I do actually like the newer Star Trek movies, and it's like, um, I don't know. It seems like they're trying to do something different, obviously, with how like it like the show is completely different from the movies I feel now.
yeah.
Yeah, and do you think that's a good move, bad move, or you know?
I haven't seen any of the newer stuff.
Oh, really?
I've seen two of the Star Trek movies, like the ones with
Mm-hmm.
Chris Pine and Zachary and all those people.
Gotcha.
Um, and I did like those.
Right.
So I was actually like a huge Star Wars fan.
I love Star
Um,
Wars.
and I
Huge.
still love Star Wars, but I decided like I wanted to watch Star Trek, like watch all of Star Trek and become knowledgeable in that. It's like
Gotcha.
one of the series that really influenced, geek culture. Um, and and it's just something that's like that's so interesting to me. So getting into it, um, like at first I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as soon as I watched it, like I mean, the first episode is like hard to watch because it's the pilot episode, doesn't have
Right.
any of the original cast. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that second episode after the pilot where they bring in, Spock and they have William Shatner and they have like the whole cast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, what? I've been missing out on this like my whole life.
Right.
um, and it just has like, I mean, it just has like this whole uh world to it that's just so completely different. And I'm like, I'm not trying to compare Star Wars to Star Trek because like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're so totally different,
They are
but
different,
they
yeah.
are very like they always come like it always comes up in the discussion. Both of
True.
them are always
Yeah.
brought up just because of the influence that they've had on geek culture and the
Right.
fandoms and all of that. So
Mm-hmm.
um but for me it's just like like I actually like Star Trek a lot more now
Mm-hmm.
than Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Plus like now that we're doing like the whole spin-off movies and all this stuff. Like, it's like Star Wars is so much bigger than I can handle right now.
Right.
And I just and I think what I love about Star Trek is that it's just such a, like, it's nobody's fighting, like, it's just like they're
Right.
just floating around in space, like, just exploring and like going to new planets and meeting people and meeting new species and stuff. And yeah, sometimes they fight, sometimes they gotta pull their blasters out, but
Right.
for the most part it's just like, oh yeah, like, we're all cool here in the
Yeah.
universe.
It's funny because it's like Star Trek has that same feel as, like, I would say even you're right, Twilight,
Mhm.
the Twilight Zone. Because it has that old school, like, mystery type of feel to it, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain
Yeah.
because I used to watch a lot of the Twilight Zone, so I know what you're talking about. Some people, when they were younger, watched it probably a little too young, and like, because like even back then, it had some crazy episodes.
Yeah. I
But
think it just has like a sense of like enchantment.
right, yeah, and that's why I love Black Mirror right now, because Black Mirror is like, if
I mean, there's no enchantment there.
I get what you're saying, but I love the whole. Each episode is different. Each episode is
Yeah.
kind of like this different world, and it's the only show that's nowadays like that. That's like the Twilight Zone.
Mhm.
But I absolutely love Black Mirror. Like, love it, love it. Like, this last season was really amazing for me. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed all of it. And it shows a lot of, like, dystopian, like, worlds. I don't know the names of the episodes off the top of my head, but I think the first episode of the most recent season, they were talking about your social world is like your rating system. And did you see this yet or no?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all of the episodes.
Okay.
So my favorite episode is Nosedive,
Mm-hmm.
which is the one with Bryce Dallas Howard, and she lives in like a Stepford Wives universe, kind of universe,
Yep.
and everybody rates themselves.
Yes, that's the one.
Everybody rates other people.
Yes.
Yeah, so
that's the one.
That's the first season of that's the first episode of season 3,
Mm-hmm.
where when Netflix took over the show, when Netflix acquired the show.
Yeah, that blew me away. That blew me away, actually, because
I was like, whoa! Like, when I watched that, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good episode. And then like the day or two afterwards, I was in an Uber. I got out of the Uber. As soon as I got out, I closed the door. I looked at my phone and I rated the guy. And then I just like looked at my phone and I was like, like, I'm living it. It's happening.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
until that social number actually dictates what you can do in life, that's dangerous, though, right?
Well, it sort of can, though, right? I mean, there's, if you want to talk about it, there's like, there's certain influence that comes with people who have, higher ratings, and people who have higher, bigger numbers of followers, and like there's certain things that you can attain from that. I mean, having those numbers is power right now. Like, there's nothing that changes that. I mean, even if you want to go have some Chinese and you're flipping through Yelp, you're like, oh, this restaurant has 3 stars, this restaurant has 5 stars, I'm gonna go to the 5-star one.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's
not really fair, because maybe it was like the 3 stars one might be like a mom and pop shop, and it's like, maybe it's like, the mom's cooking, the kid's the waiter, and the dad's the boss, and it's like maybe some guy came in and just didn't like, the taste of his curry. Like, I don't know. Right. It's like, I mean, they don't have curry in Chinese restaurants, but whatever. Like,
I get what you're saying, though. Like
it's, they're not. It's, so it could be any of those factors, but just because of the lack of those 2 stars, you suddenly just like dismiss. You didn't give that business that.
The same can be said for YouTube as well. Because like a lot of people won't check your channel, won't even look at your channel if you don't have X amount of subscribers. And I feel like a lot of that is it's almost like the bandwagon effect, right? Like if people see you the
Yeah.
number growing, more people are going to tune in a lot of the times.
Right.
So it's I mean, I've seen people
I
act like
actually
that.
saw so it was I was watching a video. It was about Facebook marketing,
Hmm.
and the guy actually worded it really well. He's just like, if you're driving by and you want to go check out, like, you got this Chinese restaurant, you're going to go check it out, and like, if you see that there's a long line of people waiting to get into the restaurant,
Hmm.
you're going to immediately assume that restaurant is worth waiting for. That restaurant must be good.
Very true. Yep.
So if you just see a bunch of people, like if you see a bunch of views, if you see a bunch of likes, then immediately your mind is like, ooh, maybe I should be watching this, because
Exactly. Yep.
it's as humans, like, we want to be a part of the clan, we want to be a part of the
Hmm.
group, and that's
Right.
just like instinct. So now it's just translated into digital, which is likes and views and whatever.
It's very true. And I have a bad habit. I don't know if you do this too. Whenever you post a video, you'll be checking it like every 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Like how many views? How many likes? Anybody comment? Like you just like whoo, whoo, quick, go. You're like I need to stop
I
doing that. I need to stop
Yeah,
doing that because it's
I think it's natural. I think it's natural. I mean, I used to do that when I started this channel,
uh-huh.
because at the end of it, like, I started this channel with the mind of it being a business. So
Okay.
even though I did
Yep.
it, because I love to do this, I
Right.
also want to make money off of it. This is so I had to be really strategic about it. So if
Yep.
something wasn't working, I needed to know so that I could fix it and figure out, how to keep it going,
I get what you're
how to
saying.
continue
Yeah.
the momentum. Um, so for me, it was important to keep an eye on that stuff. And now, like, I don't do that anymore, where I'm looking for views. But what I do is look for comments, because the
Yeah.
views come easier for me now.
Yeah.
But what's more important for me now is to develop that engagement and have that community, because I don't just want numbers. I want
Right.
people. I want to
Right.
have
Yeah.
people that I can have conversations with, like you and I.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel the same way. Right now I'm at a point where I make it my mission to comment every single comment. I reply back
Hmm.
with something. I know one day it may not be that easy. It may be harder, especially if I'm growing. I might not be able to do that anymore. So I actually love my smaller community as it is right now because
Yeah.
I can comment pretty easily on every single video. Comment back, say thanks, whatever, even if it's just like a thumbs up and a smiley face. I like to
Mhm.
just leave that because people like to see that engagement. They like to see, oh, he actually reads his comments. He doesn't just post and just runs away.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always a good thing. Also, that is the whole mindset thing of thinking of it like a business. I just started doing that in the last like 4 or 5 months, and I've grown way more. You almost have to think of it as a business in a sense. Of
Yeah.
course, you don't want to kill the joy of YouTube, but there are certain things that you should do. Obviously, branding is a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, just different. I realize there's so many different ways of gaining revenue besides just the video. The video can plug whatever you want it to plug, right? So, I kind of looked at it in a way of being like your own sponsor. If
Yeah.
like, oh, I just put out these new T-shirts. Let's plug that because it's
Hmm.
my T-shirt. Nobody's gonna look at you and go, sell out. It's like you're on my channel watching my video. Like, I'm not a sellout. Buy my T-shirt, man. So 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 it's I've started looking at it in that way, and different revenue streams from different things, without
Right.
having to be like sponsored by whatever,
Hmm.
which I mean, hey, if anybody wants to hashtag sponsor me, just let me know.
Yeah. Sponsor the Mongoose.
Let me know. But it is good to have that mentality, and it will help you. Um, it does take away some of the magic, but you gotta success comes with looking at it in that way. I feel you have
Yeah.
to a little bit, you know.
Yeah. And I
So
think I also it depends on what your goals are. You know, if you don't want to make
right,
money off of this, then don't treat it like a business, you know, and upload a video every 2 weeks or once a month. But as far as like, if you want to make this your job, then you
right.
have to treat it like that, you know, and it's like,
Yes,
if
yes.
you put $10 into your business, how are you going to make $20? And that's the goal.
Right. And the Patreon that I have with the podcast and everything, it's all in one. You know, if they support the Patreon, they're supporting the podcast, supporting the channel.
Right.
That even that little amount still helps a ton, you know, with trips that I want to go on or helping pay for whatever, because, you know, as you know, to vlog things is not free, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're going on these adventures, they cost a X amount of money, you know, Uber rides, at hotel stays, everything, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, unless not everybody, and that's why it's hard to get there, is really making a profit off of every video. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, you are taking somewhat of a loss unless you're really big, right? Or you've just figured out this whole plan that you're making some really good revenue on the side somehow.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're going deep with this. We're going deep.
We need to make this into like a 3-part series.
It's going to be a motivational speaker. Buy the book now, you know. But at this point of the podcast, we've already had an hour, almost an hour now, which is awesome. The conversation was going well, so I didn't want to stop that. It was good. So I was just like, we're just going to keep going till a good breaking point. But now is the time of the podcast where we answer some questions from you guys. And I know you saw the tweeted it out. You know, if anybody has any questions, to leave them, you know, reply to the tweet. But let me pull that up right now, and we'll have some questions to answer. I pulled up the hashtag, and it actually pulled up the tweet I did with Kyler, and I was like, wait a second.
Oh man.
Like, that was a long time ago.
I could take his questions.
He actually has a question, and that's going to be the first thing that pops up on the screen right now. It says, what's your plans for the channel? Where do you see your YouTube channel in a year? Ooh. She's going to have 1 million subscribers.
Right.
You know.
1 million. That's the plan. No, actually the plan is 100,000.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's the plan. And just do more of it. And I want it to be, I want to have more of a community, you know, built up,
right,
around this kind of lifestyle, you know, people who just want to be creative, and filmmakers, and people who are just interested in traveling and meeting other people. And yeah, I guess I don't know, that's kind of, I mean, we sort of talked about it like before we started answering the questions, and I was talking about the whole business stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I've started the channel with a strategy, and I've been following it ever since. And you know, the strategy for next year is 100,000.
That's great. Yeah, you'll do it. You'll do it. Remember this date. It's 8/5/2018.
We'll
a
have
year from now.
a follow-up podcast.
Year from now, she will be at 100 million subscribers. Okay, we got this.
Whoa.
No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
gonna beat PewDiePie.
Oh yeah, there you go. Me, I think I already discussed this. Kyler was on the I did a live podcast yesterday or 2 days ago. It's on the channel now, but I want to hit 10K before the next Go Fest, which is the yearly event. So
yeah,
I want to hit 10K. I feel like that's obtainable. You know, if I go beyond that, that's just a bonus. I just hope to be twice as big as I was then, and I feel like that's not out of bounds.
no,
I feel like it definitely could happen, and I'm setting a realistic goal, right? So I'm not going to be like, I'm going to have 40K. It's like, no. I'm not.
How many do you have now?
I have 5,200 and something. 200.
You can totally do it. So last year, I actually started off the year last year with I had maybe like 2,000 subscribers at the start of last year.
That's amazing.
It was like March, I had like 2,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And after that, so my goal for last year was to get to 8,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to 8,000 subscribers the last week of December.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And you know, shortly after that I got to 10,000 subscribers, and my after that my goal for 2018 was to get to 15,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that halfway through the year.
Right.
So so I changed it, and like the big goal for this year is now 20,000.
You'll 20,000. Well, at this rate, I mean, I blinked and you had 16K. So.
You blink.
It'll probably.
Well, let's hope that you blink. Maybe you should just keep blinking until I get
There we
to
go.
100.
Go
100.
faster.
Keep going. Every time you blink is 1,000 subs more.
Yeah, I mean, I swear, I know. I saw your tweet of hitting 15K, and I was like, oh, awesome. And then, like I said, I checked today, and I was like, whoa, you're on your track to be 17 soon. So, no, that's great. That's great. It's good to see it happen that way.
Yeah.
And one thing I realized in YouTube, it's really cool to collab with everybody. Like it's awesome to do that. I feel like the sense of the YouTube community gets stronger every time, you know, people come together and try to create together. I don't know. I love doing, that's why I love doing the podcast, because it is like a collab every single time I do it. And, you know, I love this. Like a lot of people say like, oh, don't stop doing the podcast. Like, I'm never going to stop. You don't understand. Like I love this. So it's like, coming from someone who's a huge fan of podcasts, this is like, I'm so glad that there's an audience for this that wants to watch it, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if it was like, oh yeah, I got like 30 views a video. It's like, no, there's actually people that have come up to me in person and said, podcast is awesome, keep it going. So I love that. So
that's cool. Yeah, when I do my podcast, like I do podcasts with a couple guys,
mm-hmm.
and we talk about, you know, like geek stuff and pop culture and movies, and we get together like every week when we can, and that is like the funnest part to me. I have no idea like if we have 1 million people watching us or listening to us, or like, you know, just one person is listening to us. Like to me, just getting together with those guys and just like talking shop is so entertaining, and I just love doing that.
Right. And link will be in the description below for her podcast and channel, so check that out. All right, let's get to the next question. What did I do? I like clicked off of it.
You broke it. We're done.
We're
done.
I just clicked off of it. I'm like, whoops, why did I do that? Okay. So, okay, next question is from Caitlin. It's going to pop up on the screen right now. It says, what motivates you the most in your creative journey?
Oh, we're going to get that deep. Okay.
Yeah, money. I want all of it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Wow. It's not. No.
Okay, what motivates you in your creative journey? I would have to say the content that I watch. Like, for instance, seeing something that I want to be a part of. Mm-hmm. For instance, I just watched I just watched Mission Impossible, and I'm laughing because I asked you on Twitter. I was like, "Did you see Fallout?" And you're like, "The video game."
Such a nerd response.
No,
who is this nerd?
Mission Impossible.
Such a nerd response.
But
it's like, Fallout 4. It's a good game. I played it. I beat that one.
I played it, but watched it. I don't know. Like, you mean like PewDiePie's video? Like,
oh my god.
No, I mean, like, I watched that and I was like, oh man, that is so cool. Like, I want to be in scenes and doing the whole, you know, like avoiding obstacles and, you know, getting the bad guys and like, you know, being smart and like wearing masks that would never look as realistic as they do in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
But
you're gonna do spy training? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, like, this is actually a walkie-talkie. Like, this is and it has like a little explosive
Ooh.
device. So if I just like hit this button, it's just gonna shoot a little poison dart
Be
right
careful.
at your neck.
Be careful. Don't blow yourself up.
uh, but no, I mean, I guess that's what motivates me is just seeing other stuff. You know, like when I see what Kyler does, that motivates me. Kyler's our friend. For you guys who
Mhm.
missed that podcast, link is down
Right.
in the description below.
Yeah.
um, he yeah, I mean, like just seeing other creators like doing stuff constantly is
Mhm.
that inspires me and it keeps me going because I'm like, oh man, they're doing that. I got to be at that level.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And same question to me. Really GoFest, being at GoFest and seeing like the community come together and everything, it really touched me like emotionally. And I know people that saw my 5K special, I did get a little weepy towards the end there, and for good reason. I mean, it's just like the community of Pokemon Go is amazing, and it's that sense that really put things in perspective for me. So my motivation is really just to have more of those experiences. So that involves, because I have a wife, a kid to take care of, so obviously I can't travel as much as other people. So I just want to make that happen, right? Financially, I want to make that happen, because like I told myself, like that's why I kept saying like Japan next year they're gonna have an event. I'm going, because like every year they've done one event in Europe, one event in the United States, and one in Japan. And I was like, my goal for next year is to go to two. I want to go to two Pokemon Go events next year. So it's like I want more of those experiences and that sense of community. I want that again and again and again. And a lot of people I notice like are saying like I miss Chicago, and it's because of that sense of community that we had that really
Mhm.
made it feel like it was just one big huge family. So I want that again. So that's really what I'm after. And to have more experiences like that. I want to travel more. I want to meet more people and meet more of you guys. And that, because like all like GoFest was so weird for me because I was just like, I'm not the biggest content creator, right? I was kind of like taken under the wing with all the big guys, and they like put me in stuff with them, and I got the Silk Road app. I'm like in an application, and like it's like a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. Like I was just like, do I deserve this? Like, trust me, if you were thinking
Yeah.
that, I was thinking that, uh, so it was so great to meet all of you guys. So it was just such a cool feeling. So sorry, I just went on forever on that one.
No, that's I mean those are really great goals. Oh, and I feel that way too. Like when I'm a part of something like that and I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by people who are, like-minded and they're all self-starters, go-getters, and they're just people who just genuinely want to be there with other people. Like
Hmm.
it's something really magical and that's really cool. Also, I would totally join you at one of those Pokemon.
You
So if
should totally come. Yes.
so if you guys
Yeah.
don't mind me tagging along.
Oh God, yes. Honestly, you could make a whole video about the Pokemon Go community easily.
Yeah.
Easily, you don't even have to open up the game. You could just talk to everybody, and it's just crazy because like GoFest, you'll go into a crowd, and you'll just be like people from all over the world are there,
Yeah.
all over the world. So it was just nuts. Like the YouTuber dinner, the private dinner that I was invited to, you had people from Germany, from the Netherlands, from Australia, from everywhere, and it was so cool to come together and do that. So it's just like, yeah, yeah, that sense of community was just like heightened. I feel there, so it was really cool. But anyway, this was a great podcast. Seriously, I want to thank you again, for coming on. This was awesome. But yeah, we're gonna end the podcast here. Is there anything you want to say before we end the podcast?
I had an awesome time and I wish that we could just keep going forever.
That's a good sign. We'll definitely have to have you on again. And
Yeah.
yeah. And that is going to do it for the podcast, guys. What a great guest, Romina. It was awesome talking like all the sci-fi stuff with her and nerd culture and all that stuff. And it was such a great time. I definitely want to have her back on the podcast. And Romina, if you're watching this now, I apologize for taking so long to get this podcast out. And I apologize to you guys as well. Like, sorry for taking so long to get this podcast out. So, yeah, anyway, guys, that is going to do it for the podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that that like button really hard. Like, punch it. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later.